for the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chowdhury, and very good afternoon to all the panelists here. Thank you for inviting me to this discussion here. In FTI, the industry interaction has been institutionalized ever since the institute was set up. The workshops and the enrichment sessions that our students have, the professionals all come from the industry. As part of our syllabus, in fact, it is inbuilt into the syllabus, the various workshops and master classes and the enrichment sessions that we have. We don't have any internship with the industry because we feel that it is just not possible to match our academic calendar with the industry schedules. If we are, for example, if we have a internship, let's say in August or in September, it is quite unlikely that at that point of time we might find suitable producers or filmmakers who will be able to take our students. Our 3-year courses, our 1-year courses that we have, the 2-year courses that we have, they are very packed, and our students we are unable to take them out of the courses that are being run and send them to Mumbai or to any other industry physically. So we have found a way out, and that is that the huge alumni base that the institute has. 60 years, we have almost 5,000 alumni now, and they are all the who's who of the industry, be it cinematographers, film editors, sound recordists, sound designers. So they come very regularly, and many a times, because of their emotional attachment with the institute, they find out time, even if they are very busy, but one call from FTI and always they show up, they turn up. So this is how our interaction with the industry is. Secondly, the equipment that our students work on are cutting edge, whether they are Arri Alexa cameras, which are the best, which are the cameras on which even internationally films are being made. In India also, high-end films are being made. The editing systems that we have, the lab that we have, the color correction facilities that we have, they are absolutely on par. And that is the reason that when our students pass out, they don't really feel the need to do any internship. Today, they are working on Arri Alexa, and next day in the industry, they are working on the same camera. So seeing the fact that we are working on cutting edge technology, the latest that is there in the industry, our students have that advantage. And that is why the nature, the contours of interaction with the industry for FTI are very different. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You put forth the argument, why no internship, master classes, cutting edge equipments, and being in sync with what is done in the industry. You have actually answered the second question first. Never mind. I would, in the second round, when we come back, I request you to also focus on how globally this is being done, to bring in innovations in media and entertainment or creative education, what is being done globally, if you also could throw some light going beyond FTI. But we'll come back to that in the second round. I have now the pleasure of inviting my former boss, Meghna Ghai Puri, the president of Wiscraft International, to speak on how and why this sort of interface is needed. You have an exposure of Europe. You have been educated in England. You have seen the best experiences of industry-led innovations globally. If you could speak in the global context, why and how it should be done in India. Over to Ms. Meghna. Yeah.
Thank you, UKC, and you are really very modest for calling me a boss. We've had a very, very nice working relationship, and thank you for the experience. So good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak at this panel, and I hope everyone out there is healthy and safe. These are unprecedented times, and I think that it is a time also to be extremely grateful for all the first respondents, all the people who have been working day and night for us, taking care of people who are unwell, and most importantly, in a platform like that, to be really grateful to our teachers. Teachers who have been working tirelessly, really pushing the envelope when it comes to learning technology. And I think it's important to acknowledge that in platforms like this. So my immense gratitude to all of you out there. So in these challenging times, I think it is vital that apart from thinking of how we bridge what is an age-old gap between industry and education, we also need to think of the bridge. And in this case, that bridge is the students. Education and industry may constantly be discussing what is best for the students, but these times of crisis make us understand that there is a soft layer as well, which both education institutes and industry need to reflect on with young people in a particularly sensitive time like this. After all, what is the real value of people moving out of higher education, who have the knowledge, have the skill sets, but then they lack the basic human skills of gratitude, empathy, and integrity? Going through this pandemic and seeing all the restlessness online and on all platforms really, I believe that any bridge that forms between industry and education must not forget this hugely vital aspect, which at times there is a tendency to do so. So post-COVID, I would like to think that both institutions and companies will focus more on people first, yeah, and what they can deliver later. Wishful thinking maybe, but I think it's an important aspect of our future nevertheless. I would like to speak here about the new NEP, the new National Education Policy, which I think is a huge step in this direction. The choice-based credit system, which like UKC wanted me to bring forth, which is really quite popular abroad, especially in countries like the United States, where it gives students a very broad choice to choose their majors and minors. And I feel that in their college, when they're all of 16 or 18, it's important for them to be able to explore a wider range of subjects. Yeah, and that applies to media, of course, in a big way, film, media. But I think that the way the industry is also growing, it needs people who are sure of what they want to do. And in that sense, us as educational institutes need to bring out that choice that we give to students to be able to choose from different subjects and learn from different aspects of media. So a lot of the companies that I speak to often tell me that, nowadays kids, this millennial generation, they are very, they constantly, they're not focused, they're not committed. And at the same time, I deal with students a lot. And the students always say that, but, ma'am, they don't give us the opportunity. We want to do more, but we don't get to do it. Or our expectations from this job was different. So I feel that the CBCS structure will play a huge role here. I think we will definitely get better, more well-rounded students who will enter the industry, according to me. And this will be a game changer, I feel, for the educational institutions and the industry at large. The pandemic has also made a lot of educational institutes take their learning online. So I will talk about Whistling later, since Ujjwal sir has made it very, very clear to us. But in general, I think online education is something that everyone is enjoying. And while in fashion, film, design, music, the courses that Whistling offers, we've of course had an issue with conducting practicals. But sorry, did I just get cut off? Or I was there?
No, it's okay. You are on demand. That's all. You are on demand. You can come back.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So I feel like these online sessions have been wonderful in a way, because we've been able to reach out to people who generally are so busy to make that trip to Film City. And we've had amazingly interactive sessions with people from all over the world. Yeah, and we've been able to do these workshops. We've been able to engage our students with the industry so beautifully through the online medium. So I personally feel this hybrid model will definitely continue post-COVID as well. I also think now is the time for some kind of certification to come in. So when we look at lawyers, doctors, accountants, they all have an industry certification that goes with their educational degree. For media too, this has to become a reality, where industry lays down certain key parameters which institutes can follow to ensure that learning is done properly for the skill set required. So for instance, and I can give an instance just from our industry, if we are training a cinematographer, the guild can then lay down specific specifications for the educational institution. Once the educational institution covers those specifications, we can actually have that cinematographer enter the industry and be part of the guild as well and be able to practice immediately. Lastly, I would like to talk about the new technology and innovation. Never has a time come when the use of these new ways of working can create a strong pathway, for young students into the working world. VR, AR, 3D printing, they can really create replica environments for students to see the working world before stepping into it. So yes, we've been using a lot of technology, but I think we need to look at the future of technology, and we need to really, allow students to be able to do collaborative teamwork through this kind of technology. And this will give them an opportunity to learn not just from within the country, but globally as well. So students getting an early look at these technologies is a hugely important aspect. And if industry is willing to understand that the way that these technologies are being implemented, it will give them a huge boost in terms of confidence as well as they graduate. And they will also have more confidence in the graduates when they're hiring them. So I think there is a huge opportunity post this pandemic to really create a new normal and a strong bridge between educational institutions and the industry. This can be, of course, created if there is a collaborative sense, putting not just knowledge and skills at the heart of it, but people first. So in this case,
Great.
our students.
Great, Meghna ji. Very good. People first.
I had to finish in 5 minutes. So I was
No, it's very well done. It's very well done. You started by saluting the teacher. I'm really happy. Sometime earlier, my Chancellor of Adamas University sent us a thank you message, the way you said that. Thank you message writing, doctors are saving the world, teachers are shaping the world. At this point, when the world is reeling under pandemic. Indeed, saluting the teachers, you have made us proud. Thank you very much, Meghna. The very well said point is the student is the bridge between industry and institute, and hence empathy, gratitude, and putting people first, both from teacher's perspective or mentor's perspective and the learner's perspective should be there. NEP, choice-based career system, is very important because you can pick up which are the things I want to learn rather than being shoved into our throats, our students' throats, that these you have to learn necessarily. So this choice given is a very good point, you are right. Online education, as you have explained, that how a bane of pandemic can be turned into a boon of digital learning and turned into a global networking on learning. As you said, experts from the master classes online from global experts can be done, and you are already doing. Industry certification, very, very pertinent point. If I have to take, other than empathy, if I have to take one point from your talk and highlight, this is industry certification. It's important that we look at this the way the lawyers, the doctors, and many others look at it. Technological innovation, very right, AR, VR, 3D printing, the necessity to focus there, and collaborative teamwork. These are the key points that Ms. Meghna Ghai Puri put before us. I'd like to note here that going ahead will be blended, as you said, hybrid. I have a term, as you know, I have a fascination for inventing terms. So phygital, physical plus digital. Physical as the base, digital as the superstructure. Phygital will be the learning.
From our last panel.
Right, yes. Right. And virtual studio, I'm sure the problem of practical can be handled with virtual studios, which gives almost 70% of the experience of the real life studios or real life practical. More on that later, but let me now bring a stalwart of this particular industry, both from the industry and from education. And for more than 2.5, 3 decades, he is focused on education. Dr. Sandeep Marwah, President, Asian Academy of Film and Television, and Chancellor of AAFT University in Raipur. The academy is in Noida and the university is in Raipur. Over to Dr. Marwah, who has got best of the both worlds seen, experienced, brought together. Why and how you think there should be industry-institute interface and how innovations can be done there. Dr. Marwah.
Thank you, Professor Chowdhury. I'm recollecting 2 lines के सभी दिशाओं से शुभ सुंदर भाव विचार भरे नित अंतर पुण्य धरा बन जाए स्वर्ग ये मेरे यत्नों से करुणा कर. The fact is there are 2 things which are much more beautiful and much more important than what you can see with your naked eyes. And these 2 things are your thinking and your feeling. And the best part is that the whole media and entertainment industry is based on your thinking and on your feelings. And the job of the film school or a media school is to enhance your emotions and to make you a 360-degree intelligent boy or a girl ready for industry to work into. And on the basis of these principles, we started Asian Academy of Film and Television. And I suddenly realized that this media and entertainment industry is going in a beautiful manner, because the glamour business is the biggest business on this earth. If you make a sum total of all the industries of the world, you'll be surprised that glamour business is the biggest business on earth. When it comes to India, we are the 6th biggest industry, and it is growing at the rate of 12% till before COVID. And the best part is that even at the time of this coronavirus, it is only media which is slowly and gradually still doing well and has saved the whole world. We have communicated to the world so well that we have not suffered the way WHO predicted under this coronavirus. So it's a very important industry, 6th biggest industry. And imagine we need something like 4,000 trained and educated media professionals every year. And who's going to work on it? When you talk about industry personnel, I'm sorry, they don't have time, because they are so totally involved in their day-to-day affairs. They have no time to take tuitions or put you on the floor, uneducated boy or an untrained girl. So it is the job of these kind of institutions which should come up and provide best of the facility possible. They have to be serious. They have to be a dedicated institute, because this whole industry is only meant for passionate people. And the institute has to have that kind of a base, that kind of a nature. People who are running the show must also be part of the industry and should be passionate enough to teach and infect their students for this industry. I'm happy that AFT, which is a 27-year-old institution running from a 100 acres film city in Noida. Luckily, I'm also the founder of that film city, and surrounded by best of the around about 350 channels. And now imagine we have something like 950 channels in India, and we make something like 2,000 films in a year in 28 official languages. You need so much of trained manpower. You need so much of educated boys and girls for this industry. And if you're not bothered about, and if you're only bothered about engineering or a medical, or I mean, which are also very important, but you cannot ignore today communication. It's an age of ice. It's an age of information, communication, and entertainment. You just cannot live without it. So it is important for institutions like us to give our best, train manpower, and feed the industry with the right people. Luckily, the Prime Minister always wanted to have a university for the biggest film industry, because India is the biggest film industry of the world, and that responsibility has been showered on us. I'm so thankful to government for giving me this wonderful opportunity to prove once again, with almost 15,000 people in 145 countries of the world, with 6 world records to our credit, that speaks that we have done enough for this industry and we are passionate for it. We would love to give our best. And the best part of AFT is that it's a door to media and entertainment industry. The minute you enter into AFT, we provide absolutely a thorough industry environment, and students, they start feeling in a minute as if they have actually entered into media and entertainment industry, which gives them enough confidence, because you in this industry you can only be successful if you have confidence, and confidence comes from knowledge, and knowledge comes from education, and that's what the base of AAFT.
Thank you, sir. Yes, the right point that you started with, thinking and feeling, that this is an industry that brings thinking and feeling together, the brain and the heart together. If I can say that the thinking world over now, earlier it was that people are born with right brain strong or a left brain strong. The right brain is about aesthetics and creativity and colors and emotions, and left brain is about logic, thinking, rationality, mathematics, sciences. This was the thinking. But today the focus is on center brain. Center brain is a blend of right and left. I really appreciate the thought that if we can bring together feeling and thinking to create a higher product, the product has to be superior. Media persons, yes, as Corona warriors, I really like that point, that yes, media persons did work as Corona warriors, made us informed, made us laugh, made us weep, and many things more. And I must remember at this point, because you have excited that thought and brought into memory this thing, to my knowledge, at this point, it may be more, to my knowledge, 127 journalists have died in the last 6 months due to Corona. So for a moment, let's remember them. They have died doing their work. They have died bringing us information, bringing us news. They have died for us, for the nation. So they are indeed Corona warriors. Cannot ignore ICE or media in today's economy, no doubt about that. By the way, we may not contribute in money terms in a big way. It's 2% of the GDP is media and entertainment at this point. If we take the Ficci frames data, that annual data, annual status that we bring out. But the contribution to each one's life is immense. It's not just in money matters, in life it's very big. You are right, we are the largest entertainment industry by amount of the films and the television channels and the productions that we do. We have 1,000+ films in India in 2019, 680+ films in Hollywood. So obviously our films are far more. Then, I'm talking of the feature films. If you calculate all types of films, it will be far more. So, but we have to also note, this is a point to be noted as well, that the total film industry, I'm talking only film, overall media and entertainment industry, according to Ficci Frames report last couple of months ago, is around $24 billion, of which $8 billion is only cinema, films. Whereas the Hollywood's total income in the last year was around $2 trillion. So obviously we have to go a long way on the value chain. On the value chain, we have to go a long way. But number-wise, number of people involved-wise, we are the largest industry in the world. And very well said, this industry needs nurturing, needs the support of the industry as a whole. This, education institutes have to produce the right talent for such an industry. We move to the next speaker, and the next speaker brings another dimension. Going beyond film and television, she brings dimension which is connected to branding, brand communication, event, entertainment management, and many more. So we have with us Ms. Sushma Gaikwad, Director of Wizcraft, MIME, and ICE Global, who would speak on the current topic of innovations through industry institute interface. Ms. Sushma, please.
Thank you so much, Ujjwalji. And a big thank you to Ficci Frames. And it's a pleasure to be here on this panel. I'm super excited. And I'm sure my beaming smile completely conveys that. So I really wanted to, I'm going to really pick up from what Meghna had said earlier. She was talking about the bridge, and the bridge is the student. So let's talk about the first part of the bridge, where the bridge begins. That's the industry. So when it comes to the industry, we really have to be focused on what is it that the industry requires. So what the industry requires is skill and attitude. And I feel the attitude piece has been missing for a long time. There's the aspect of us harnessing the students' attitude, developing mindsets, enabling the students to achieve, and not only that, making them career ready. And that is something that we've really been propelling towards as an industry of educators. So that is what, yes, number one, the first part of the bridge, skill and attitude. Now there is the other part of the bridge, is where they land, that the student lands, is actually having a career. And that's the other part, and that's where we play an important role as an institute. Now, what does an institute really do today? And I love the way, this discussion has been really talking about COVID, post-COVID, and it's been really fruitful. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple of learnings that I've had in this COVID times. Number one learning is institutes are no longer brick and mortar. They have become relationships. That's it. Whether it's virtual, whether it's brick or mortar, it is all about relationships. And creating a domain or creating a spirit of relationships is what is important. It's important for us as educators to have a ear to the ground of what is it that really the students want, and then develop that bridge to give them what they want. So while we're developing the bridge, what do they want? So I'm coming back to the center. So I'm going to be just doing this whole jigsaw of toggling from one end of the bridge to the other end of the bridge and coming back in the center. So what do students really want today? Students really want to be career ready, to be entrepreneurs, to be entrepreneurs. That's it. They want courses that give them perspective of the industry, of how to get industry ready, of how to have the right attitude, of how they can deal with other people, of people skills, and whether they know it or not, they really require EQ. And emotional quotient plays a very, very important role in what the student needs at this point of time. And they also require, today's students are very hybrid. They teach us a thing or two. They're very shorter attention spans. Their attention spans are short, not because they're distracted. Their attention spans are short because they can absorb so much more at a shorter period of time. So we, now coming back to the end of the bridge, as educators, it becomes very, very important for us to, number one, look at curriculum design. Today, curriculum design requires to be more instructional learning led. I'm sorry.
No problem.
This is what happens when you get excited and animated.
It's okay, good. That's natural. That's the beauty of being in media. It's natural.
I love
it's natural.
it. Okay, so they require curriculum design that's more instructional learning led. Now, what does that mean? It is VAK, very simple, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So how can we, as educators in the time coming forward, engage all sensory aspects of the students' learning? Very seldom do we actually sit and figure out, which is the prominent learning style of a student. Each student has different learning styles. And it is very important that we address that in the curriculum design. That's point number one. Another point number two is theory to be really honestly, this is my perspective, 30% and 70% should be experiential, especially when it comes to the education stream that we are really looking at, which is media and entertainment. So I think when you make it 30-70, which is actually right now it's the other way around, what ends up happening is there's really feet on the street and student learns through their experiences, but not only learns through their experiences, journaling, if they're doing an internship capturing, all that becomes very important for the student. So that is the point number two that I really wanted to make. And yes, the credit system is phenomenal. I think when we really employ it, it is going to change the entire scape of education, especially in media and entertainment for us. And the blended learning, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this because that's my area of specialty, being an instructional designer. I think what we're looking at blended learning is still in a very nascent phase. Blended learning, when you look at a global landscape, it has taken a very different paradigm. And I think there is something that we as educators can really learn from. And that's coming to the next point is, I really feel in this whole bridge, right, left and center, there is something that we really, I think our students can benefit a lot from. And that is from global perspective. Why are we getting them ready for only Indian industry? Why are we not getting them ready for Hollywood or I'm sure we are, yet let's give them an opportunity to work in any industry across the globe. And when we do that, we will start creating global citizens of great value with great learning, skill and attitude, and we will shift the paradigm of global learning of the world, because we know we've done it with our doctors and engineers. We can certainly do it with our media and entertainment students.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to say one last thing in closing. And this is a very softer part of it, okay? For the past few days, I've been doing a lot of webinars in different institutes. And this is something we, as an education industry, really need to focus on, especially the media and entertainment. I've had 5 students, lady students, reach out to me and say, ma'am, my parents are not agreeing for media and education. They're not agreeing. वो बोलते लड़की का काम नहीं है ये. So for us in an industry, it becomes very important to break stereotypes. And I think I'm just speaking on a very macro level as a woman. It's very important that we break stereotypes. We have been breaking stereotypes, and yet it's important to brand it, because end of the day, I'm a branding professional. So I need to talk about the branding aspect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank
that's
you.
what I really wanted to say. Thank you so much.
The issues that you brought up are very important. Yes, I had to somewhat cut you short, maybe,
Yeah.
but
No,
because
no,
we
I'm
have
done.
only 25 minutes and a second round is to go. But and Ramesh ji is still remaining. But very important points you brought forth. Skills and attitudes both are important for the bridge, for the students. They must be career ready. I am happy that you did not say job ready. But career is a lifetime experience, lifetime perspective. Job is the application of career at a point of time. So you are looking at a lifetime perspective, and that's good. Brick and mortar is changing into relationships. It's not about digital or physical. It's about relationships. Great, great. I mean, the bond that I have with some of my ex-students of Whistling Woods or Symbiosis are still remaining green. That shows the relationships is above brick and mortar. I'm sure Sandeep ji remembers his students 20 years ago, and they are still there in touch with him. Relationships do matter. On a serious, more serious note, I would like to say that the three aspects are coming together. Brick and mortar, classroom-based learning, physical learning, practical learning, studio-based learning, click and portal, digital learning, virtual learning, and experiential learning by doing. All three coming together, and I call it experiential brick and portal. All three having its significant share in the learning process. I also like the word entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. This is something our media education lacks. We teach skills, we do not teach attitudes of entrepreneurs normally. Normally, I mean, there are exceptions, and some of these exceptional institutes are reflected in the discussion today. But in general, it's important that in media, entrepreneurship, owning up is one's own work, even when he's an employee, and being an owner of a work by itself, entrepreneurs. People skills, EQ remaining important, emotional quotient, visual, auditory, and kinestics, realignment in all ways in these three things. That's very significant. Theory, experiential more important than theory, no debate on that. Blended learning, we're at nascent phase. I totally agree. What we are doing in digital learning largely, opening up a Zoom talk, calling 25 students and giving a lecture, which we would have otherwise given physically. Unfortunately, a larger part of online learning in the country, it may not be true for the institutes reflected here, and that's why we are discussing it. Actually, it has to be proprietary learning resource and aggregated learning resources created for the learner. Proprietary means my own video, my own PowerPoint, my own slideshow, my own case study, and aggregated means whatever is available in open source, massive open online courses, MOOCs. All these we bring together through YouTube, Vimeo, and all. Proprietary and aggregated, blended together is the new job of that learner, mentor, or the teacher of the old times, mentor of the modern times. Aggregating learning resources. That's where really blended learning starts. Anyway, global industry readiness is another big contribution to your discussion. Can we look at not just Bollywood, not just Collywood, not just Tollywood, but Hollywood as well? But the global industry, by the way, Middle Eastern media has a large number of Indian professionals. Many of them, many of them are actually trained in the institutes that we have been associated with. Global citizens will come through this global industry readiness and breaking stereotypes for women members of the industry. Thank you very much for these very important points. Once again, I repeat, so that we can take home the points, not just listen to a webinar, but actually take home the points. And we have now, as I said, one of the Bhishma Pitamahas of our industry, someone who is a role model to several generations, not one or two, Mr. Ramesh Sippy, who runs his institute today, has been a well-known film producer and director, and Sholay everyone is aware of. Over to Mr. Ramesh Sippy. The last word is yours, sir.
Hello,
unmute yourself. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful to be a part of this discussion. I think it's a very, very healthy discussion, and I wish there is going to be a lot more of all this happening, because there is this constant complaint in the industry about a need for so many people in the industry and fresh blood. And yet the fresh blood that comes in from the institutions is not really able to find really what they want. So I'm wondering if some organization like Ficci or maybe Wizcraft can be the go-between, trying to bring these two things together. Because both are equally important. Learning is as important as getting work after you learn. And the industry also needs as much from the students because they are the potential workers of the new industry developing. And all over, I think media and entertainment covers just about everything. As you said, even in COVID times, there is so much that the media is doing to keep the world together. Yes, you have some of that extremist stuff happening all the time, but there's also a lot of positivity, plenty of positivity, plenty of hope being offered as well. So I think learning and working are two very, very important things that need this interface. And today's discussion is all about that. I, as an individual, when I started at the age of 17, I spent 8 years on the sets. At that time, I did not have the benefit of an institutional learning. So my learning was on the sets. And after 8 years, at the age of 25, I started my career as a director. I was very lucky that I had a father like Mr. G.P. Sippy, who was in the industry and who was able to give me an opportunity. But the point is, whatever I learned in those 8 years came very handy. Students today, when they go to the institutions, do go there to learn and get work as I did. But if they think, really, if they think that it's so easy to just learn and get there, it's not. If it took me 8 and today, even then, I believe till here and everybody has spoken, I am still learning. I promise you, I have learned so much from today, I can't express. Every speaker has spoken so wonderfully from the young Meghna to the experienced Marwah to even conducting this meeting to the young lady from Wizcraft and of course the head of FTII, Mr. Kainthola also. He's all these people have experience that I fail to understand if today we don't start what you have started. It should grow. This interface must, so that what all we are trying ultimately will not be used until one the other and need each other very badly. It's great. And I would like to say that as everybody has predicted, the future of this industry is absolutely marvelous. All new technologies that have come have only helped it to grow. When they come in, they frighten us. Is it? No, we will only get richer. Because again, it's knowledge, it's technology. Whether it was during my making of where technology, I imported technology from the West, from the 17mm or the phonic sound for Cholet. If I brought that in, today's technology has opened up so many doors for so many opportunities. And it's not, as everyone knows very well, it's not just cinema. Today it's the web world, television, of course. So all these platforms, and now you have plays coming to you through this technology as we are sitting today, the virtual world. You have plays even coming to you. So everything is possible. So let's definitely not waste it. I know we're going to talk about ourselves in the next round, but all I'm saying is great opportunity today. Thank you all for taking this stand and giving this knowledge to me, making my experience richer today. And I hope we will do that to a lot more people after this.
What a humility from a veteran. Indeed, very humble of you, sir. Good discussion. The complaint in the industry has been that fresh talent is not usable or not very productive. And hence, there is a complementary relationship between the industry and the institute. Very well said, sir. Marvelous future. Technology helps it grow. Indeed, sir, digital medium is actually democratizing the industry. It is bringing the industry closer to people's heart and homes. It is personalizing industry in the handphone, in the smartphone. It is making the costs go lower. It's helping more and more experiments happen. And we are seeing such fabulous experiments. Could you, sir, think 2 years earlier, maybe, or 3 years earlier, any one of us, could we think that a Gulabo Sitabo would be released on OTT? Or a Hollywood film would be released on OTT? Could we ever think that Oscar or Cannes Festival will be done virtually? We know the CPH Docs, world's largest festival of documentary films, was done in May online, with 32% more audience logging in because it was digitally available globally, with 19% more revenue coming in because people were paying $5 in the payment gateway to get inside and watch it. That's the new future. That's the new normal. Doesn't mean that there won't be physical event. There will be. Doesn't mean there won't be blockbusters. There will be in the cinema hall. But we are also experimenting with newer things, which makes the industry even bigger. And on that note, we get back to our first speaker again, Bhupendra Kainthola, Director, FTII. Sir, you have given very good introduction of how FTII has been bringing in the industry closer to education in your earlier discussion. If you could also throw light on why and how is the necessity of this closeness, and any global experience or global exposure if you have to share, sir. Over to Bhupenji from FTII.
Yes, thank you. You see, FTI is a member of SILECT. SILECT is an association of 180 worldwide film schools, and we get an opportunity to attend SILECT every year, and that is a great platform to learn, especially things that we are not very good at right now in the institute. For example, AR, VR. That is one area that I think that FTI must really roll up its sleeves and enter into that area in a very big way. FTI has, I think I am now allowed to speak about the institute.
Please do, sir. You
Right.
have already spoken,
Yeah.
no problem. You can continue.
So we have exchange programs with 3 leading institutes worldwide. And we send our students abroad, and students from those institutes, like La FEMI, for example, in Paris, they come to the institute. What we have discovered from the students who are coming from Paris or who are coming from Griffith in Australia is that when they come here and when they work with our students, they realize and they understand that in India, this institute that we have is in no way less than what they have. And when our students go abroad, they are completely comfortable with the equipment they are working on, whether it be FABW in Germany, whether it be La FEMI. Our students, when they go abroad, they are not at sea. The way they are trained, and in FTI, the training is such that when a student passes out, let's say an editing student, for example, when an editing student passes out, he's already a filmmaker. He knows about cinematography, he knows about sound. And that is the reason that you have editors like Rajkumar Hirani or David Dhawan or Sanjay Leela Bhansali or Aruna Rajay Patil, people who have specialized in editing, but they have become filmmakers. Or we have cinematographers like Shazi Karun, for example, who was trained in cinematography, but is now a filmmaker. So the education in FTI is so rounded and so developed that a student who passes out is actually a filmmaker. He's not just, we don't call our student a cinematography or a technical student a technician. We call them an artist, because that is how their learning is. And this is the way in 60 years, this institute has shaped up. And incidentally, I would like to inform this panel that this is the Diamond Jubilee year of the institute.
Okay.
We were set up in 1960, and among our earliest batches is the father of Meghna Ghai Puri, Mr. Subhash Ghai, who's an acting pass out incidentally, and he's a filmmaker today. He's not an actor; he's a filmmaker. So that is one thing. Another thing is in this digital platform, in this digital, in the post-COVID times, FTI has also attempted in a very modest way to start some courses for the general public using online platforms. So we have identified almost 20 areas like writing for web series, fiction writing for television. We earlier thought that maybe cinematography cannot be taught online, but we have just conducted a digital cinematography course. And of course, there are limitations. I must admit that, there are certain things you cannot teach online. And that is why I feel that the relevance of a brick and mortar institute is never going to go away. And just like COVID is not going to be there forever, COVID is there for another 6 months, maybe. Once the vaccine is out, people are going to come back to the institute. People are going to, but the digital platform that has now found space, that is going to continue, because there are millions who cannot come to Whistling Woods. There are millions who cannot come to Ramesh Sippy Academy of Cinema and Entertainment. There are millions who cannot come to FTI. And for them, a film appreciation course or a course in film review or a course in film criticism, these are the kind of courses we are finding takers. In the last 16 weeks, we have launched 25 short courses using various digital platforms, and 830 people have been trained. So this is going to continue. And I think that, but I repeat that COVID times are not going to last forever. And the way, at least the way FTI is structured, the way our students are trained with cameras and with equipment, when they come back, they will have to use those machines, those equipment, and it is not going to be that online we will be able to teach them those things. In a very limited way, we can teach them in a very limited way, but eventually they have to come back to the institute and they have to learn the way, because technology is not everything. It's the craft.
Thank you, sir. We have only 7-8 minutes remaining, so we'll have to really ration timing for the remaining speakers at 2 minutes each maximum. Select network, AR, VR, that's a good point. AR, VR focus has to be there in education. I'm not summarizing your talk once again to save time, but it has been good points you have brought forth. Exchange program value from techno coolie to techno innovator. That is a filmmaker and an artist and not just a technician. Good points you have brought up, sir. Thank you very much for contributing to this discussion. We move to the second speaker, Ms. Meghna Ghai Puri. This time, please talk about how Whistling Woods is bridging the gap between industry and institute and creating innovative practices. Madam Meghna.
I'll be brief. Thank you so much. So, I think Whistling Woods, the genesis of Whistling Woods, the way when we started, the whole idea was to bridge the gap between the industry and students. Given that my father went to FTI, but did not have anybody in the industry when he came here, and from becoming an actor, trying to become an actor, he did writing, and then he did writing. He just kept writing stories and selling them. And then eventually he got the amazing opportunity to direct his first film. So I feel like he had this thing in his heart that, he wanted to build an institute which would give a platform to students. And I think that more than technical education or creative education, and those are things like Sushma mentioned that, are we training them to be global filmmakers? I think technically everything is the same. I've been to hundreds of institutes, film schools all over the world, and I think we all are the same. We're part of Select and we all discuss these things, all the same. I think what makes an institute really unique is the networking opportunity that it gives to its students. We've seen that with FTI, we're seeing that now with Whistling Woods, how the students really, when they get out in the industry, they form this beautiful alumni network and they reach out to each other. They look after each other. So I think that the industry itself, the institute itself is becoming a part of the industry. And we have that opportunity today that we get a lot of our alumni to come and teach. a lot of our alumni to come and give us feedback, and they're doing really well in the industry. They're very active in the industry, and they still take time out to come and teach. And then they even advise us on curriculum. So the amazing thing about being an autonomous institution is that we can be extremely dynamic. We can change our curriculum as the industry changes, and we all know that the industry changes extremely fast. So using technology, using attitude, the right attitude, Sushma, very, very, on point there. Alumni can be very brutal with students when they come in and they tell them what they're doing wrong. So I think that is the amazing part of being an institute like Whistling Woods, which is really by the industry, for the industry, inside the industry. So,
great.
Thank you.
The key point in the institute as a part of the industry, that's the key point that you have taken. Networking opportunities, alumni, industry relationship, and alumni as the industry coming to the institute. That's a fabulous aspect that you brought forth. I remember, Meghna, there this Wednesday meetings that we had, one film, a contemporary film shown, the director then addressing questions of the director, some technicians, once in a while, the actor, actress speaking to the students on the nuances of the film. That was a fabulous experience that we had in Whistling Woods.
And we've continued that online. So
that is great. That is great. If you continue it online, it becomes even more. I mean, that's the commitment that you have brought forth. That's the culture that you have brought forth. It becomes a cult over a period of time. Over to Dr. Marwah. Dr. Marwah is undoubtedly setting huge standards over the last 3 decades, bringing in such large number of festivals, such large number of films on campus, and not just films. I'm aware that you do global journalism meet, global public relations and advertising meet, and all that. And you have created the first university dedicated to media and entertainment. Over to Dr. Marwah for your concluding comments.
Yeah, I think I straight have to come to the point. Let me tell you, I'm based in a 100-acre film city. Out in this film city, we have 16 studios, 17,000 media professionals. They're working in this film city, and this is the fastest growing film city in the world. So, and there you have a Marwah Studios, and Marwah Studios credentials are that we are associated with more than 100 feature films, 4,500 television programs, 5,000 training films, and my production company has made around 2,900 short films with the students of AAFT. And this is one institute where we have our own newspaper, own radio station, own television station, own film production house, a television production house, audio, video, and sound studios. And this institution has been honored 700 times, which includes 145 international awards. And more than 60 governments of the world have nominated us as their brand ambassador in India. Now, why I'm telling you this? Because 360-degree development of a student. If you have joined one discipline, and that is also at the most subsidized cost, we are the most cost-effective film school in the world. The kind of facilities, the kind of infrastructure, the kind of state-of-art equipment, faculty. We make around 200 short films in a year. We call something like around 100 personalities from all over India and abroad. Idea is to work with the industry, be a part of the industry, so that students should get ample exposure before he is out of the institution. He must have joined a course A, but he gets such a wonderful exposure of 360 degree of anything and everything, which is connected not only with the film, television, and media industry, but also with fashion and design, PR, events,
right? Indeed,
journalism.
Indeed.
You know,
thank
all
you.
those things. And
thank
then
you, sir. It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock already.
And the largest number of events.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand that. And I have been part of a couple of them. I'm aware of the good work being done there, indeed. Sushma ma'am, closing 1 minute. You had a long time last time. 1 minute.
Okay, I had 2 minutes overtime. Okay, I'm going to not eat that up. So I'm just, we have a variety of courses available. There's BMS and MMS in event management available at Jain University. We have MBA available in Chitkara University. Our core idea of whether it's event management and media and entertainment is curriculum and curriculum delivery. Now, there are various aspects which we really specialize in, which we've nailed. Number one is a very, very deep mentorship program to breed entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. We have an incubation center. In fact, talking about case studies, we've had 5 of our students come together from various fields to actually collaborate. So our emphasis is not only literally taken from what Meghna says, is creating an alumni support system, as well as enabling students to collaborate with each other, because that becomes very important.
Great.
So global exchange programs, etc., are also very, very pertinent to our
not to miss out the point that you brought. Mentorship is very significant from industry, and incubation. Incubation is something I really take it up, because that's not too many media schools in the country doing. Thank you very much, Sushma.
Yeah,
we
thank
had.
you.
Can I request Ramesh ji for his last word?
Oh. How do you say it in a minute? Okay. I'm still a baby in the field as far as the institute is concerned. And I have to say that it's actually my wife, Kiran, who runs the institute. And the most important thing is, I can tell you what I've seen, because this is the 3rd batch. So the first graduating batch, and unfortunately we couldn't complete it this year because of the COVID. We hope to do so over the next month or so. I have been seeing the growth of these students from the 1st year to the 2nd year to the 3rd year. And I can tell you by the scripts they have brought forward for this final year that the growth is damn good.
Very nice.
The students have to be congratulated for that. And of course, the faculty that imparted all this knowledge to them, my guidance and my wife's
operational leadership.
That's okay.
Operational leadership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Contributes to everything, but I just hope everyone here continues to meet and bring this about, the interface that we're talking about. Very
well said, sir. This collectivism, this collaborative approach is the right approach to go ahead. And learning from the best practices of one another, I have tried to highlight the best points of each one so that we can bring them together and learn. If Ficci wants, I can do a report on the best points that have been brought forth by each one and share it with all so that we can actually take it forward. There's no point of doing webinars without actually any follow-up action, and everything, incubation, entrepreneurship, global exchanges, so many things have been AR, VR focus, so many things have been brought forth that we can look into. And events, large number of events, many things have been brought forth. I'm happy we had FTI from Pune. We had 3 institutes from Mumbai, run those by Meghna, Sushma, and Ramesh ji. And we had institute from Delhi NCR, Dr. Marwah. These all institutes represented. I'm from Calcutta, and Adamas University is also trying to do its best through, it's a new university, 6 years old only, but MSc, BSc in Media Technologies, and MBA in Media Entertainment Management is something which is unique here. Having said that, we have missed out South India perhaps. LV Prasad Film School, Annapurna Film Academy, doing very well from South India. And we promise to the industry, these institutes which are here and the ones from South together, we will contribute to the industry the best way we can. And we shall be part of you, not along with you, but part of you, as Meghna told. With this, we bring this session to an end. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for a very exciting time, for a very interesting time. Lot of good case studies, lot of best practices shared. Over to Ficci. Thank you.
We are meeting soon.
Yes, soon, surely.
So thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot for a wonderful session. And in fact, we are not missing the Southern universities. They are there tomorrow on the session.
Okay.
So, you know, these Southern institutions are run by the film stars themselves. So they are on different session. Big thank you, and please continue watching today and tomorrow. A whole day we have an amazing set of sessions.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Meghna.
And let's meet soon again somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
Over coffee.
Virtual coffee or physical coffee is the question.
Physical, God willing, physical. Thanks.